Shalom Smith, this Officer 1000 Yahweh of Atlanta School. We ready to get down instead of get on this hit Monday night history class. The topic of it the topic of it is King Herod and it's the siege of Jerusalem. See, we weren't taught what was really going on, like leading up to when Christ came, right? We were only taught, when you're a Christian church, the only thing you get taught is, hey, Jesus here, and then now we all gonna get saved, you know what I'm saying? You get taught he was born in the manger, you get taught all of that, but you don't get taught the whole history and what's going on behind all of that, right? All right, with that, give me 1 second. I got a couple articles to bring out. All right. Okay, here's one of them. Okay. So, hey, no pops, can you read for me? Can you read for me at all? All right. I'm gonna send you an article, all right? Anybody else in the chat at all? Anybody else in the group? Okay, nobody in there. All right. Okay. So just to begin, it was General Crassus with some late help from General Pompey who defeated the slaves in battle of 71 BCE. They symbolically crucified 6,000 surviving slaves along the Appian Way along Capua in Rome. They did not allow the bodies to be taken down so the birds and animals could pick the corpses clean. Travelers on the road were reminded of the price to pay for defying Rome. So this is just showing the evilness of Rome, right? They, what the scriptures say, it's talking about how our oppressor, his bones is going to be left out on the streets, right, for the birds to pick at. The reason why is because that's how he did that to us, right? He did that to everybody. Anybody that was a slave, he did that to them, right? After spending several years campaigning against Rome's greatest and most dangerous competitor, the Parthian Empire and her proxies, General Pompey besieged Jerusalem in 63 BCE. In the coming decades, thousands were imprisoned, tortured, and crucified before Jesus was born or started preaching. So there were tons of people killed before Christ that was crucified. So when Christians try to tell you that, they act like Christ was the only one to be crucified, they want to wear the cross and all of that, that basically means, nothing. Why would you want to have the cross, something that represents the death of the person that's for you? You know what I mean? That's like your brother getting killed and you put a gun hanging on your necklace, right? What kind of sense does that make, right? All right. In the coming decades, many thousands were sold into slavery, but a lot of Jews died by the sword, right? and they sold the rest into slavery. The fittest became gladiators, and they fought in arenas throughout the empire. So just like right now, Rome is no different than modern day America, right? We, what do you think football and basketball players are doing? They're gladiators, right? Same exact thing, gladiators. Gladiators, they used to battle each other with swords. Now you battle each other with footballs. It's the same exact thing. They play a game for our oppressors' entertainment. That's all a gladiator is. They fight against each other. Just like Rome, they had all these great big coliseums, right? Had all these coliseums because they basically believed in their entertainment. Their entertainment was very important to them, right? All right, let me keep reading here. So yeah, the fittest of them, that means the most athletic. The LeBron James of them. They all became gladiators. They went and fought for entertainment. The Eastern Mediterranean was strategic for Rome, and Pompey secured both Syria and what later became Judea province. Procuring new bases for Roman legions in the east was a coup. Rome, however, was overextended and could not afford to have the Jews revolt, and therefore Roman rule was not heavy-handed at first. So basically, Rome is like I said, you got to think of America. When America was establishing itself, right, they didn't want to inflict harsh bondage on the people as hard, right? They trying to, certain places they would do it at, like America they would do it at, but sometimes in other countries they would do it a little softer, right? And what they would do is, like they do in, El Salvador and all those other countries, they'll just go and take it over, mislead the people, put a ruler there, right? And that ruler would be the people, that would be the person that keeps the people under control, right? See, because they were busy expanding. They didn't want to spend their military efforts in trying to control these people here. They didn't want to spend that energy really, because they wanted to grow. They wanted to grow a big Eurasia. They wanted to grow all into Asia. They wanted to take over all of that. They didn't want to spend time on these Jews here, right? So they said, okay, just give us your money, pay tribute to Rome, and then we'll let you go about whatever you're doing, which is how they do all the other places anyway. But what do they ended up doing always? They end up coming back and killing everybody and taking it over, right? All right, let's see here. Yeah, they were busy expanding to Gallia, Britannia, Germania, and the parts of the Mediterranean closer to Rome. Hold on a second. My page just jumped. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right. Besides fighting so far from Rome, presented a logistical challenge for the legions. They needed time to build new roads and upgrade ports. It took decades for Rome to tighten the screws on the Jews, right? So they able to come around and siege it and hold it, right? But they're not able to take over because then they have to make roads, because how they gonna get their military to go back and forth, right? How they gonna get goods? Because like the main thing, what does the military need? You know what I'm saying? Makula, what does the military need?
It's like it's is it weapons of power?
Yeah, that's one thing. What's the main thing military needs?
Oh, it's like order.
Huh?
Order.
Who?
Order. Like structure.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about substance.
It's like, is it warriors?
No, they need food and water.
Oh, food and water.
Yeah, that's the main thing of military, because they only can fight as long as their bellies is full, right?
Come.
So they have to have roads and build roads and ports to transport goods. That's why war is so expensive. That's one of the reasons. Of course, there's You gotta have armor, you gotta have weapons, you gotta pay them in, of course you gotta do all these things, right? But then there's also, you have to feed these men, feed, water, and clothe these men, because if they get sick, they can't fight, right? So they needed time to build up these roads and build ports up so that they can go and try to take over everywhere, right? But in the meantime, what they're trying to do, they're just expanding their reach and putting people in setup. Just like, what does it say about America in the Revelations? It said the whore that sits on many waters, right? So what they're doing is setting that whore on many different waters now. So yeah, they're not going to start off taking over. They trying to get their influence out. Try to say Rome is the best way to live. You know, we live under a republic, right? That's how they want to do. You got to think of the same way America do, same way as Rome, because America is based off of Rome. All right? By the 1st century CE, Rome had vanquished the Gauls, the Iberian tribes, the Carthaginians, the Sicilians, the Greeks, and the Thracians, among others. Rome had become a seasoned master of total war and a specialist of propaganda. What's propaganda? Anybody know what that is? Nobody know what it is? All right.
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
Salaki, sir. Salaki, sir.
Makula went first. Go ahead, Makula.
Is information, especially of a biased or a misleading nature?
Yep, that's part of it. There's a part of it I want to go. Well, you can go ahead, Doc. Who's on the phone? Yahweh, you done?
Young man Charles, sir. I kind of had the same thing. Information, especially of a biased or misleading nature,
Okay.
used to promote or publicize a particular political case or point of view.
There you go. All right. Who was it on the call? I see a 415 and a 706 number.
Shalom, y'all might say y'all talking about I'll see how you that checking in.
Okay. So spit that. All right. Who else is that? That a 415 number? I guess they don't want to talk. But all right. The part I want to bring out. Go ahead. You was it?
Another part of a committee of cardinal of the Roman Catholic Church responsible for foreign missions.
Yeah, but that's not where we're going with it now. Okay. It's a archaic is the part of an organization or movement for the spreading of propaganda. But the propaganda is information, ideas, or rumors, right? Deliberately spread widely to help or harm a person, group, movement, institution, or nation, or etc. And keep going, right? It's somebody that's deliberately spreading rumors, right? So that's how Rome does. They don't, because they know they can separate the people by spreading rumors deliberately. So they keep the Jews from coming together, right? So they have people set in place to keep that propaganda going. See what I'm saying? That's how devilish our oppressor is, right? He keeps those things going and fights. That's why he keeps blacks and Hispanics and natives hating each other through propaganda. Just like there was times when we would come along with the Native Americans and we would do very well, but then they started spreading propaganda saying that the Native Americans owned slaves, right? But they don't tell you the whole story about that. They don't tell you that, no, that's an oppressor man that laid with a woman that was Native American, and then now that baby, they gave them slaves. But then a lot of times they forced that woman to lay with them. Then they want to say that was a Native American. You go ahead, Doc.
Even if it was them as like, you know, okay, best way I can get it, you know, the movie Life.
Go.
With old boy, you know what I'm saying? That like he wanted to shoot Martin.
I can't remember that much. You gotta refresh my memory. It's been a minute.
The guard with the gun. Like,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, basically in slavery, like, then they didn't use this against each other, like, to be over as, like, as, that goes into, the scripture we were talking about taskmasters, right?
Yeah, but a taskmasters was that's kind of different. But it depends on why you use it in that reference.
Okay.
A taskmaster is somebody that's over you like a supervisor, right?
Okay.
But a lot of times, what they do is they just do different things to separate you. One of them is do a taskmaster. They would have Native Americans they would hire Native Americans. They would spread rumors, that propaganda said them black people don't like you, and then they'll hire, one group of Native Americans. They'll get that sells out.
Right.
And then they'll say, well, all Native Americans do it now. So now you gotta watch out for Native Americans now.
Okay.
So now the blacks hate the Native Americans. When before they was getting along just fine. They was marrying it with each other. People tell you that the Underground Railroad went north. That's untrue. A lot of it went south, went into Florida.
Okay.
That's where they had a whole settlement, the Seminoles. They had a whole settlement down there in Florida that blacks and Native Americans was living on down in Florida. So until, of course, the oppressor came and killed everybody again, but, they had a whole, that's where everybody was going to. They weren't going up north. They was going right south. All right?
Okay.
Keep reading here. Okay. All right. Okay. By the 1st century CE, Rome had vanquished the Gaul, all these people here already said that part, and specialists in propaganda, including religious propaganda. So they wanted to spread different religions out there, right? They wanted to, because they know that, because you gotta think, why did Constantine want to unite Rome with the religion? Why did he want to do the religion under one? Because he knew that he could unite the country of Rome, right? If you everybody under one religion, instead of they serving these handful of guys over here, they serving this handful of guys, right? They say if we all serve the same quote unquote God, we all do the same thing, we all fighting after the same thing. Nobody's competing. Nobody has a different and morals, I guess you want to call it. They're all under one constitution, one flag, right? Which essentially what they mean by that, right? With the enemies closer to Rome vanquished, the improved Roman navy and the legions turned their attention to Judea. During the occupation, Rome was a republic from 63 to 27 BCE and thereafter an empire. The transition from republic to empire meant that the relatively democratic Roman Senate ceded much of its power to the first Roman Empire, Augustus. Right? In 7 or 6 BCE, he appointed General Varus as governor of Syria in charge of 4 legions. Varus was known for his harshness and for high taxation. When Herod died in 4, this the part that's a lot. They say Herod died in 4 BC. Like when it comes down to history, you gotta kind of like take the dates with a grain of salt because they don't know the exact dates, right?
It's like that kind of like they saying like dinosaurs 2 years ago.
Yeah, they don't know these dates, man. That's your phone? Right here. This phone is yours?
Oh,
What you about to say? Go ahead.
What you're bringing out right now is so heavy, and especially about the part where you said that the emperor he set out four different legions to city Syria. That's similar to what's going on today. With America and how America, what I'm saying, when it gets ready to siege a land or something like that, it'll send troops over to countries that surround that area that they want to, go and infiltrate, and they'll set up shop just like the ancient emperors would do with their soldiers back in the day, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing new under the sun, and what you bringing out is so heavy because the same way the Roman Empire, you know what I'm saying, sacked Jerusalem then, they still sacking Jerusalem now by, having us under their oppression, you know what I'm saying, under their thumb, you know what I'm saying, with the iron fist, you know what I'm saying, ruling over us a lot.
That's how they keep us under that iron fist. And don't think, because when people gonna try to tell you, they gonna say that all of Rome was all, Caucasians, right? No, not all of Rome was Caucasian. You had different people of every different place in Rome. So that's just expel that. You can't say that it was all just one people there. It was many different, because Rome took over a bunch of different places. Like, I even think at this point they was over like the north part of Africa. So they even had Hamites in there as well. So they had Hamites, Arabs, all of these different people in their military. It wasn't just one, I guess what you call a biblical nation. They was the nation of Rome, but they wasn't a nation of, it wasn't just like all the Elamites or all of the, Edomites or whatever the case is. They were all different nations, right? All right, let me go back here. All right, now this person, he was known, for being harsh, right? And there was a messianic uprising in Jerusalem, and Varus quailed and crucified 2,000 rebels, right? So there was more, like you think of, like we always, like we weren't taught like the truth. There was more, like just how it is with Israel all day long, like now, right? You got all these different people trying to raise Israel out the dirt. You got the conscious community, right? You got the Muslims. You got all of the fake Israelites, right? You got all these other different people trying to raise Israel up. It was the same way as it is now. It was the same way it was back then. So there was a bunch of messianic uprising. Everybody was trying to, because they knew the Messiah was coming. So everybody was trying to say that they were the Messiah, right? Just like how you got Yahweh ben Yahweh trying to say I forgot who he said he supposed to be. You had that dude from, what's the name, trying to say he the son of David. You got all, he come from the lineage of David. How the hell you know? You don't even know your great-great-grandfather. How you know you from David? You know what I'm saying? But or they try to claim that who they were. Everybody was trying to claim they was the Messiah, right? In 6 CE, Augustus appointed Quirinius as the governor of Syria. That same year that Judea was made a Roman province, and Quirinius was ordered to conduct the first Judean census. The census meant that the Roman authorities wanted to find out and record where every person lived. Like we got now, we got a census we got to do every 10 years, right? They had a census, then they wanted to know where everybody lived. They said their age and physical traits, what their vocation was. That means their job, who they were related to, and so forth, right? Just like our census, you got to name who your parents are. You got to name what your job is. You got to name all of these different things, right? In this way, they can maximize taxation, right? And more easily find those they suspected of tax dodging, criminality, troublemaking, and organizing revolts. So they wanted to know these people, they had jobs, what type of jobs, and if they not paying a certain type of money for taxes, they knew where to come find these people at. And if they weren't giving no money, they must have been trying to organize a revolt, right? If they cannot find a suspect, they can still burn down his house, confiscate or kill his animals, and imprison or murder his relatives. Censuses were against Jewish law, right? Judas of Galilee and Zadok, the Pharisee, refused to accept Romanization to pay Roman taxes. So, you know, we didn't number our people, right? That's what the point they were trying to do. They were trying to number the people. Okay. All right, let me see here. Anybody got any questions so far? All right. Now, you know, we're going to start getting into a little bit of King Herod. So, basically, King Herod was a man that, he was from Idumea, right? He was a man that came, you know, that the Romans put in charge over Judea, right, or Israel. They put him in charge because he knew that, you know, he was rough and he was a very dictative leader, and they wanted him to be over the Israelites to make sure that they follow suit or whatever they want him to do, right? Let's get into a little bit of that story. Can somebody give me? Well, let's first, Yahweh Yadah, can you give me Ezekiel 36 and 5? Uh-huh.
Therefore, thus says the Most High Power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen.
So this the Most High said, he's spoken against, you know, in the fire of his jealousy, he's spoken against the residue of the heathen. So he's speaking against these heathens, right? Keep going.
And against all Idumea.
So against all Idumea. Who, anybody knows who Idumea is? Go ahead.
The one, if I made, that would be Edom, Mount Seir, Esau, the modern day oppressors.
Khan, that's correct. Idumea is like, there's like different ways you can kind of say. First it was Esau, he was the man, right? That was the man first. Then he became Edom. That's why I call him Edom. And his family became Edomites, right? Then, over time, their land that they lived on was called Idumea, which is another way to say, you know, Edom, like the land of Edom, right? So Idumea is just where the Edomites live. Like I said, you can't go by where that's where all of them live, right? Because you know Rome was in Europe and they was ruling over there, right? And those were devils as well. Those were Idumeans, right? But these particular tribe Idumeans at this time was sitting in Idumea, right? They were sitting in this land. You get what I'm saying? So then some left out, established tribes in different places, different things like that. Just like how everybody goes. What was that?
Sir, if I may, a question, sir, if I may.
Go ahead.
Sir, the water, it's real heavy breakdown. I'm wondering, is it the same place, or does it have a relation to the Caucasus Mountains in Turkey? And is that a relation to, I know they talk about the city of Petra. Right, that's where all their buildings come from. You know, like the Federal Reserve, Congressional buildings. You know, the city of Petra is in relation to Caucasus Mountains and the city of Petra. So
I can't remember exactly. I'm about 75% sure it is, but I'm gonna have to check. All right, I'm gonna have to check and make sure. But I do. But Petra and all of that's Mount Seir. That is also where Edomites lived at. They lived in those mountains. So Idumea, like I just can't recall right now. But I can't recall for sure. But there was a land that was Idumea that they lived in. They also lived in Mount Seir. Like I said, people lived in different places, different tribes. You had Israelites living in different pockets of different lands and cities. You had Moabites living in Assyria. You know what I mean? You had people living everywhere. It's just that this was the land that was called Idumea. That, you know, this is the land they set up. And even if the Idumean Empire was even there, they didn't even call themselves that, right? But even if they left, you know, we as black people, we still gonna identify them as that. Even if they don't even live there anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even if they're not even established there anymore. Now the Idumeans is, you know, Edomites is Rome, right? There might be a little bit of Idumeans there. There might not be no Idumeans there. But that's still gonna be the land of Idumea. Just because that's how black people are. We don't let nothing go. We don't stop calling something that's been that forever, you know what I'm saying? So that's what they call it, Idumea. So you gotta think about that. It means that's the land where people that was from Edom that lived there. Like the land of Moab, they still call it, that's what they call you a Moabitist person. Moabitish, which means you live there, right? All right, let me get back to this. Hopefully it didn't take me off. Okay. All right, you ready there? Keep reading there, Ezekiel 35 and 36 and 5.
Come on. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 36, verse 5. And against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with the spiteful mind to cast it out for a prey.
They have appointed their land into their possession. So they took the Most High's land and they put it to their possession. So the Judea became a possession of Idumea. All right, with the spiteful minds, they cast it out for a prey. All right, drop that. Give me Matthew 2 and 1.
The book of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 1. Now, when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king.
Right there, Herod the king. He was born in the days of Herod the king. So they're going to tell you that, you know, Herod died. All the other resources, they're going to say that King Herod died. Does anybody know why they're going to tell you that King Herod was dead before Christ was born? Anybody going to know? Anybody got an idea? Go ahead.
If I may, you know, the reason they would do that is because if they could say that King Herod was not alive when Christ was born, that means the story of Christ was not real. And we can see in the scriptures that Herod was alive when Christ was alive.
That's a good point. I wasn't even thinking that. That's a good point. That's another point I was looking for as well. But that's a very good point. That's a very good point. All right. Anybody else know? Like, you own it. You close to what I wanted to bring up, but that's a very good point. But go ahead.
Come on, Counselor, if I may. You know, a lot of people, because we all know what a son of perdition is. We all know what the devil is. So we try to say that the devil was he was on top of us and, you know, causing us all type of trouble as a king, right? Trying to be us. So they're gonna say, that's not Herod, that was one of you. That was back on back crowd. You know what I mean? It's a lot.
It's close. I'm gonna help y'all out. I'm gonna help you out. Help you out. Who rules media right now? Go ahead.
The so-called Amalekites.
There you go. Well, no, they ain't so-called, they are the Amalekites, right? You mean the so-called, the fake Jews, right? They're the one that rule that, right? Now, you have to do a little bit more history. You have to do studying on who, like King Herod. Who is King Herod to the fake Jews? They honor him. They respect him. Why do they respect King Herod and not Christ? Go ahead.
They respect King Herod because he is one of them.
Khan, get that brother in. That brother in. That brother, he is one of them. He is a convert. He is from Idumea. He's from Mount Seir. He's from he's from. I think he actually is from Mount Seir. Like that's where his family comes from. He's from the Caucasus Mountains, wherever those Amalekites live. He is literally from there, right? And they let him be in a position to lead. So that's why they honor him. They don't honor Christ because Christ was a black man. And they honor this Caucasian man because they look at him as being great Herod. So they try to make the Bible seem like it's a lie because they say what King Herod did. Anybody know what else King Herod did? That was evil. Go ahead.
If I recall correctly, King Herod put a hit out on the Israelite babies the same way Pharaoh did.
Exactly. He put a hit out on all Israelite babies and started murdering them. And they found history. They found tombs when they killed the little babies. But they still try to say, well, there's no Roman record of it. There's none. They all try to say that, right? But you know how our oppressors like to hide the dirt that they did, right? They like to try to hide. They want to glorify, well, he built all of these buildings and palaces. He built all of this stuff here. He's known as Herod the Builder, right? They don't want to talk about the evilness that he did. They want to say he died before Christ was born, right? So the Bible just made this up, right? People just ain't got nothing better to do while they in captivity under another nation than to make up stories. No, who makes up stories? The so-called white man, right? He the one that makes up stories. Somebody about to say something?
I heard that Herod, he also sacrificed a pig at the altar. Was that also done? I can't recall if it's true or not. Was that something you also did?
I can't recall it. I think he did. But I think I did read that in doing this research in the last few days. I think he did do that. About 90% sure. I think he did do that because he doesn't honor the. He's not a Jew. He's like a Jewish man. He don't care about what the real culture is of the Jews. He don't care about that. When white people do stuff, when it comes to religion, it's for power, right? They go and convert over to other people's religion for power over that people. So they can manipulate those people. They don't become that because they're genuine and trying to learn, right? They do it just like how they did with the Bible. They didn't come and learn to be quote unquote Christian so that they can learn from us, right? They didn't want to learn from the Jews on how to follow Christ. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to be a Christian so that they can oppress you and make you follow them. You get kind of the spirit of the white man? All right. All right, keep reading that in Matthew chapter 2 for me.
Come on. The book of Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. Behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem. Verse 2, saying, where is he that is born king?
second. We lost the conference call. All right, Salah, can y'all hear me? Can anybody hear me? Okay. All right, start back over. All right, start back over there where it said, where's that man born of the Jews? Why the hell this thing keep cutting me off? I'm calling it regular. That's what it
Joining conference now.
is. Okay, so like, y'all hear me now? Okay, the thing keeps cutting me out. Should be good now. All right, go there where it says, where is he that's born a king of the Jews?
The book of Matthew chapter 2 verse 2 saying, where is he that is born king of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him.
So they saw that star, because everybody knows there was a star coming for saying that Christ was going to be born here, right? So he said, where is he that is the Jew, the king of the Jews? Keep going.
Verse 3. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him.
So he heard this. So he was troubled because he heard that, King of the Jews was coming. All of Jerusalem was troubled too. Anybody know why he was troubled? Go ahead.
If I may, by him and Judea, he knows the prophecies and all the laws, statutes, commandments that the Jews practiced and they concerned themselves with. So he knew that there was a king coming. He just didn't know the time period and when he was coming.
And then when it says the Israel, Jerusalem was troubled, it doesn't necessarily mean that like the like the peasants, so to say. It's the leaderships were troubled. Because, we already know why they were troubled. They said they didn't want to lose a position, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that the peasants, because why would the peasants be sad? It was the leadership of Jerusalem that was troubled. Keep going.
Verse 4. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes,
because look, who did he get? Who did he get who did he get together? The chief priests and the scribes. He got the leadership, the rulership of Israel, right? He didn't get the peasants together. Keep going.
Verse 4. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born.
So he said, where is he going to be born at? Where is this man that's supposed to be here, supposed to be the king of the Jews? Where he's going to be born at? Keep going.
Verse 5. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, but thus it is written by the prophet.
So he's going to be born in Bethlehem. The prophet said he was going to be born in Bethlehem. Keep going.
Verse 6. And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah. For out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel.
So he's going to come out of the least among the princes of Judah, right? The prince, he's talking about, he's going to come out of the rulership, right, of Judah. Not in the least, not in the people that's leading now, because some of the people that was leading now was of those rich families. Some of David's you know, ancestry was ruling too, right? You had people of all, you know, of all of the famous families was ruling Israel as the chief priests, scribes, and all of that. What you about to say?
So, like, y'all don't want, I got a precept.
What is that one first?
The book of Micah, chapter 5, verse 2.
You said it's what?
Micah, chapter 5, verse 2.
Oh, you asked me this is precept?
Come.
Okay, go ahead and read it.
The book of Micah, chapter 5, verse 2. But thou, Bethlehem Ephrath, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah, yet out of thee shall come forth unto me, that is to be ruler in Israel, whose going forth have been from old, from everlasting.
Yep. That's saying he came from old, right? He came from, he was the beginning, right? And he's going to be the everlasting king, right? All right, keep reading. We're in chapter 2, in Matthew chapter 2 for me. I think we was at
The book of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 7. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared.
So then he called them wise men privately. He said, you know, come here, like, you know, come here and tell me real quick, you know, what's going on. Like, tell me about this, right? When the star come, keep going.
Verse 8. And he sent them to Bethlehem. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child. And when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also.
So he's telling them, you know, come bring them, you know, go find them, go search Bethlehem, go all throughout here, go find them, and then bring them to me, because I want to worship this person too, right? He's supposed to be, you know, quote, you know, Jewish, right? He want to worship the Messiah. Keep going.
The book of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 9. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was.
So then the star that was here right over Christ, you know, it went over their head, and then they could go, and they would follow it. It was going to be right where the young child was. Keep going.
Lock y'all to one.
Go ahead.
I have a question about that star.
Go ahead.
It's saying that the star, stood over the child. You know what I'm saying? Where it was, and it's saying that the star, is that star a chariot, or is it actually a star in the sky?
From their knowledge, it was a star. Now, what it could have been anything. You know what I'm saying? But in their knowledge, it was a star. The Most High, if he wants to make it a chariot that's in the shape of a star, however he wants to do it. Or it could be an angel in the shape of a star. But in their knowledge, it's a star. You get me? So, I mean, I haven't heard any break down anything differently, but in their eyes, it's a star. All right? Keep going.
The book of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 10. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy.
All right, keep going.
Verse 11. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold, and frankincense, and myrrh.
He got it all. He got the good stuff. He got gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Keep going.
Verse 12. And being warned of the Most High in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way.
So they came, they said, Most High said to them, don't go back to Herod. We go, and they said, all right, we gonna go. They went into their country a different way, so that he didn't know, he couldn't send people to go try to find them. So they went in a different way. Keep going.
The book of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 13. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him.
So now Herod, the Most High sent Joseph in a dream, telling him, get your family, get the hell up out of here, go to Egypt, right? Get up out of here. King Herod, he wants to try to kill you. He wants to kill you. He wants to try to kill this family, right? Or at least Christ, right? Keep going.
Verse 14. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt.
Keep going.
Verse 15. And was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son.
So he said, stay out there until Egypt calls Christ to come out of there, right? Keep going.
Verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding.
So he was pissed. He said he was pissed off. Okay, y'all gonna go like you seeing some people that's supposed to be under your control, and then they say, you know what, we ain't gonna come back, we going somewhere else. We ain't coming back to you. So he pissed off, right? You defied his orders. Keep going. Go ahead.
Verse 16. And sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men.
So he did that because he inquired of them, right? So he wanted to make sure there was no children left. See, that's why the Most High knew. That's why he sent Christ up out of there. King Herod, he on a killing mission. He had nothing to do in his heart to do with trying to, worship Christ, right? He wanted to kill Christ. Because like I said, the oppressor, he does not convert to your religion so he can learn from you. He does it for power. He's supposed to be Jewish, right? But he's trying to kill he's trying to kill the Messiah, right? Yahweh Shah Mashiach, he's trying to kill him. He's not trying to keep him alive. He ain't trying to worship him. He wants him dead so that he can keep his power, because he know if he's who they say he is, that's a threat to his power and influence, right? So he wants him dead. Keep going. Go ahead.
If I may, this is a heavy topic that you're bringing out. And in that Matthew chapter 2, verse 15, where it says he was going to call his son out of Egypt, can we precept that with Hosea chapter 11, verse 1?
I'll have to get back with you on that one. I'm not sure.
Come.
Let me get it. Hey, Michael, you got a pen? Do I got? Oh, never mind. Slide. I got one. The water, all right. What was that? Hosea? You said Matthew
2 and 15. And the precept that I was asking about was Hosea chapter 11 and verse 1.
Okay, so I have to get back to you on that one. Because, I'm going to do like a series that we're going to keep talking about. We're going to go learn some history throughout the whole, next we gonna, we might touch on this a little bit, but we're gonna keep moving on about, all the things that led up, to everything up until now. We're gonna break out, different history, you know what I mean? Y'all gonna have a full understanding of the complete history of like even Christ and all of, what's going on in Israel. It's so that when y'all go to speak and y'all go to teach, y'all have some context, right? Some context to bring it out on, because that's the difference between us and the Christian church. We're gonna give you context. We're gonna let you understand what's going on here so that you can go and actually teach people and show that our school is what we say it is. It's the Israelite School, universal practical knowledge, right? So we're gonna let you understand what was going on so you can use it practically, right? All right. Go back to Matthew 2. And 17.
The book of Matthew chapter 2 verse 17. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, verse 18, in Ramah was there a voice heard, lamentation and weeping and great mourning. Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted, because they are not.
So now, it's talking about Rachel, right? Rachel seeing her children being killed, right? It's like a vision that he was having. That's saying Rachel seeing her children, just like any mother. She's seeing all her children, the babies getting killed. Like mothers, they nurturing, right? They love their young ones, right? So she's, the vision is Rachel seeing her children just being killed, just slaughtered for no reason because they trying to find Christ, right? Keep going. Oh, yeah, said she would not be comforted because her children not comforted, man. They being killed by this bastard, right? All right, keep going.
The book of Matthew chapter 2 verse 19. When Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt.
So now, when that happened, they said, that, after, the man died, Herod died, it was, they can come back in Israel now. Keep going. Skip to 22.
The book of Matthew chapter 2 verse 22. But when he heard that Archelaus did reign in Judea in the room of his father Herod, he was afraid to go thither.
Yeah, he was afraid. He was afraid to go there because he found out his son, which was another, Herodian or whatever you want to call him. He was somebody else. He didn't want to go in because his son is not ruling. So he's like, apple don't fall too far from the tree, right? He gonna be doing the same thing his father. He about his father's business, right? Keep going.
The book of Matthew chapter 2 verse 22. But when he heard that Archelaus did reign in Judea in the room of his father Herod, he was afraid to go thither. Notwithstanding, being warned of the Most High in a dream, he turned aside into the parts of Galilee.
All right, keep going.
Verse 23. And he came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet. He shall be called a Nazarene.
So now he turned, he came in, he came and, brought Christ into Nazareth, right? Another part of Galilee. So, because, he was still nervous. He didn't want to bring him to, the middle of the city of Israel. He wanted to give him a chance, him to grow up, become a man. That's what, Joseph was trying to do. All right, any questions on that at all? All right. Oh yeah, another thing we're gonna talk about, if we can get to it today, we're gonna talk. Y'all heard about that group Sakari, right? Anybody heard of that before? Y'all can shake your head. Y'all pay attention. Alright. Y'all heard the group Sakari before, right? Anybody know what that's based upon? Go ahead.
It's based out of a group that's mentioned in the Bible.
I don't think they mentioned in the Bible. I don't think they mentioned in the Bible. No, they're not mentioned in the Bible. Go ahead.
I want to kind of sort if I may. Sakari is an ancient group that, they wage war against Rome, and all of them died. I believe they committed suicide. They fought in the Mount Megiddo, and they displaced themselves after that. They probably like the 300. The Sakari, you're trying to be like the 300 that fought valiantly against, their enemy, their foe. But in this case, they lost. And in the end, they killed themselves. You know what I mean? Instead of trying to be like the conquerors, they want to be like the losers. Sorry.
Yeah, kind of.
Is it sweet?
Huh? Is it what?
Sweet.
Sweet?
Sakari?
Yeah, it's spelled Sicari. But yeah, you right on that. Basically, the Sakari was like, there was like different groups kind of going on in Israel, right? You had the Pharisees, you had the Sadducees, you had the Essenes, you had the Zealots, you had the Christians, you had like all of these different groups, like it is now. What you got today? You got I.S.U.P.K, you got the purple homosexuals, you got the Kemet homosexuals. Like just the same way it is now. You got the pastors, exact same way it is now, right? So when that come down to that, they were all different people, kind of dividing up Israel a little bit, right? And the Zealots, one part of the Zealots became the Sakari, which is even messed up. I don't even know why they would even call themselves that, because that term is not even, from what I've even researched, is not even Hebrew. It comes from the dagger. It was like a dagger, like it's like curved like this. It's like a dagger, and they used this dagger to swing and kill people with, and that's what they named it after, something that was their enemies. So it was like a Roman dagger. They called themselves that. So it's not even something Hebrew. So I don't know why them fake Israelites even call themselves that, because it's not even it's not even representation of our culture, right? All right. But we're gonna get into them a little bit too. All right, you get that book and Mark for me, 3 and 1. Anybody got that for me? Mark 3 and 1.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and read it for me.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 1. And he entered again into the synagogue, and there was a man there which had a withered hand.
All right, this is Christ, talking about Christ. He went into the synagogue, right? A man had a withered hand. It was probably like, I mean, you don't know because, but you've seen people that had like a hand that was real small compared to like the other hand. It was real small because like, some type of, maybe a disease, or they could have had, I forget what causes that. So know all the medical terminologies. But it's disease that you can have, afflictions you can have that makes your, arms wither up. and it's, he can't move his arm, whatever. So this was going on with this man. He had a withered hand. Keep going.
Book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 2. And they watched him, whether he would heal him on the Sabbath day, that they might accuse him.
So who's watching them?
It's like, sir.
What?
Is it Pharisees?
Yeah, it's them, the religious leaders. They watching them because they supposed to be the, they supposed to be the people that's supposed to like keep guard and try to keep everybody in line under Roman rule, right?
Right.
So they watching Christ, trying to see if he gonna heal this man. Keep going.
Book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 3. And he said unto the man which had the withered hand, stand forth.
So he said, come here, stand up, come to me. Keep going.
Verse 4. And he said unto them, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath days, or to do evil, to save life, or to kill? But they held their peace.
God. So he just asked them. He asked them because, right? He just asked them, like, is it unlawful? Because he knew what they was thinking. He knew who he dealing with, right? In the synagogue where all of the high priests and all that live at, right? They don't necessarily live, but that's where they work at, right? Huh? Oh, y'all take another one. So he knows this is where they, this is where they be at, right? So he coming in to heal this man, right? So they just look at him, man, you gonna heal this person. You ain't supposed to do no work on the Sabbath day, man. Sabbath day is holy. Right. You ain't supposed to do no work. But he said to them, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath day or to do evil, to save life or to kill? But they held their peace. Does anybody know why they held their peace?
It's like it says because they knew that they didn't even know. Matter of fact, they knew it was. They knew what he was doing wasn't unlawful, but they still wanted him to do something.
Because they trying to cut Christ, right. But Christ is cutting them. Does anybody know a good example? I'll give you a hint. It's in the Apocrypha. When he's talking about, is it lawful to do good on Sabbath day or to do evil, to save life or to kill? This one is actually about killing. Anybody know? You don't have to pull it up, but anybody know what that example is when there was some killing going on Sabbath day?
It's like it said when
you ain't gotta say names. I forget the names too.
Okay, I know basically. I don't know. Somebody said something about y'all need to fight, and then the brothers they didn't fight, so they just let people just kill them. Exactly.
Get that brother in. Exactly. It was a time. I think it was the Maccabees. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was during that time. I have to take a spray too. You gotta know. But basically, there was a time we were fighting against our oppressors because that's what we always do. You always got an oppressor, right? We were getting ready to fight against the oppressor, but then there was a group of brothers. They said we were not going to fight because it was a Sabbath day, right?
Right.
They didn't want to. They thinking it was profaning the Sabbath day to fight against their enemies. But Christ is cutting them right now because they know these stories. They're lost because they greedy. They're not lost because they necessarily got their history taken away from them right now. They know these stories. You know what I'm saying? They know what happened in the Apocrypha. They know this. They know that those men got killed. And then other men, they fought on the Sabbath day and they won the fight. They won the battle. They know these stories. They was taught this from their whole life. Right? So then that's why they sat there and shut the hell up. Keep going.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 5. And when he had looked round about on them with anger, being grieved for the hardness of their hearts.
So he was mad because he said y'all so damn evil that y'all trying to put it the best way I can. Y'all so damn evil. Y'all don't want to heal this man because it's the Sabbath day, right? So now they using the Sabbath day against it when they really probably didn't want to heal the man in the first place.
Basically, like what you're saying is like how you say it's so evil. Like instead of trying to save this man, y'all rather kill me than save somebody.
Exactly. Get that brother in. Get that brother in. Exactly. Y'all rather kill me. Y'all talking about killing some damn body, right? Y'all rather do that on the Sabbath day than heal this man.
Come.
That's a heavy point the brother brought out. That's a very heavy point. They'll rather kill you, rather put me to death for healing this man than than me healing him. Like that was more important to put me to death.
Come.
So he's telling them that's not what the Sabbath day is made for. The Sabbath day is made so that you don't have to do servant labor on that day. You get a day off. It's not meant that, of course, a doctor has to be in the hospital on the Sabbath day, right? Certain professions have to go on. What's going on, huh?
For me, it's a real heavy point. It reminds me of when the Sadducees, they're trying to, when Christ healed Lazarus, you know what I mean? They want to, instead of, admiring the work of the Lord, they want to kill that, so they put him to death.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? That's what those be doing.
Yeah, and that's why the Christ said, you are of your father the devil. And that's who they are. They father is Herod the devil, and they they father. They about their father's business, right? So that's what they rather kill Christ than let him heal this man. Keep going.
Book of Mark, chapter 3, the end of verse 5. And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored, whole as the other.
So he told him, he said, because Christ, he looking mad. Like, y'all, it's just like, man, y'all this damn wicked, right? That y'all want to heal this man. Stretch your hand out. And then he stretched it out, and now it was healed like the other. Keep going.
Book of Mark.
But look what these bastards do. Keep reading.
Book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 6. And the Pharisees went forth and straightway took counsel with the Herodians.
Well, who?
The Herodians.
The Herodians. Right? So now, because they see what this man is doing, they went forth and got counsel with the Herodians. Right? The people that set up and King Herod, the main King Herod is dead. Right? So now this is his family. Right? It's not King Herod. You might see King Herod later on. That's not talking about the King Herod in the beginning. Right? Just like, how biblical talk, we call you whoever your father was. Right? So they're going to call him Herod too, because that was your father. You just like that bastard too. So this is his family and his government. Keep going.
And the Pharisees went forth and straightway took counsel with the Herodians against him, how they might destroy him.
So now they took counsel to destroy Christ. They wanted him off here because they see what he's doing. He gonna lead the people away from King Herod. They so damn terrified of the Herodians, right? They so damn terrified because they don't want to lose their power they already got, right? They scared of the Rome. They terrified of Rome. So they don't want none of this smoke. They want him to just go away.
Right.
Just disappear, man. We want to stay how it is right here. We doing good. They the same as how black people is. Like, they say the massa, massa is our house burned down. That's how they acting. They don't want rulership. They want to stay under somebody, right?
Good.
So, all right, let me get another verse. Let me go to book of Matthew 4. Is that 14? Can you read my own handwriting? 14:11. Or is that 14? 14:1. You got that for me?
Book of Matthew, sir. Come. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 14, verse 1. At that time, Herod, the
Tetrarch.
Come. At that time, Herod, the Tetrarch, heard of the fame of Yahushua. Verse 2. And said unto his servants, This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead. And therefore mighty works do shew forth themselves in him. Verse 3. For Herod had laid hold on John, and bound him, and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his brother Philip's wife.
So that was his other brother, right? Because he put him in there because basically, do you know why he got put in jail? Anybody know why?
John Baptist. That's like because somebody, the woman and the daughter was something like prostituting. And he was like, there's prostituting or something like that. At a party or something. It was a.
Yeah, I mean that happens later on, but you right, you in the right story.
Okay.
But basically, John told them that because he basically married his sister's wife, and John told him that that's unlawful. You are not to do that, right? Because they trying to be Jewish. So he like, no, you ain't supposed. If you trying to be like us, we don't do that mess. Like I said, they're not trying to take on our culture. They doing it for power.
Okay.
The white man, he doesn't have a God.
Right.
His God is himself.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
And Satan.
Right.
That's his God, Satan.
Right.
And what is Satan the master of? Confusion, right?
Right.
There you go. All right. Keep going.
The book of Matthew, chapter 14, verse 4. But John said unto him, It is not lawful for thee to have her.
Yeah, that's what he said. It ain't lawful for that. Keep going.
Verse 5. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet.
So he was fearful of them, right? They was fearful of John, right? The Herodians, they was fearful of John. They looked at him as a prophet. So why would that's how you know King Herod did this. He wanted to kill those babies because he didn't want nobody counted as a prophet. Because what is any devil? He doesn't want any threat to his power.
Right.
So he wanted to kill whoever was going to be the prophet to lead the people. Right? But basically, it was King Herod's birthday. Jewish, right? Supposed to be Jews, right? Celebrating birthdays. So on his birthday, it was the daughter of Herodias, that's his brother, was dancing or whatever, and it pleased him. He said, you know what? You can have whatever you want. Right?
So it's like this, sir.
Go ahead.
So Herod, he was an Edomite.
Kind.
And so the other Edomite wanted to marry his. Okay, who wanted to marry a sister?
No, she was a King Herod, the Petrarch, wanted to marry. He married his brother's wife.
Oh, come.
He was trying. I'm not sure if he married her or was trying to.
Okay.
Either way, John
all
told.
All the Edomites though, right?
Huh? All the Edomites, yeah.
Okay.
You know they nasty. You know, like they women, they'll go from their brother to their brother.
Right.
Like even black people don't even do that mess today. Like you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, even in our captivity and our destruction, if you go mess with somebody brother, they be like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They kind of standoffish, you know what I'm saying? Women mess with a relative or friends. Usually, let's just the whore, of course, like, you know, a bigger whore in the world, of course, you know what I'm saying? But most of the time, they kind of got limits to what they would do. So,
I heard that King Harry, like his mother was an Israelite and his father was an Edomite.
I think I did hear that too. I can't confirm that though.
I heard Jeremiah teach that.
Jeremiah, okay, God. If Jeremiah taught that, then that's what it is then. So, and that also shows you how our oppressor works. He comes in. You said his wife was or his mother was?
His mother, like he was a child. He was like he was something like
A bastard, a mixed breed kind of, quote unquote.
She was the bar, elder bar.
Come. Yeah, there you go.
You think everybody else consider him black, but he's not black because his father's Edomite.
Exactly. So that's even to show you. And if I could, that's even deep. Remember I said earlier, that's what they would do with the Native Americans. They would go lay with the women, have a baby, and then now that baby, well, like now you mixed in with them. Go, you know, but you after your father's business. You go take care, you go, be Israel. Now you after that. And that's where I believe they even get that BS that has to come from the mother. Like the fake Jews, they say it has to come from the mother side. They say that you were Jewish. Where the hell is that at in the whole Bible? Nowhere. You got to come out of a Jewish womb. See what I'm saying? But that's because they honor King Herod. You get what I'm saying? They honor King Herod. They don't honor Christ. Because Christ didn't die for them. They know this. They know this.
Also, that's a parable about the tares growing amongst the wheat. I don't know if you ever heard that parable. That's talking about them. I mean, like, they're the tares growing amongst the wheat. Like, they blended in amongst us and stuff. But the Lord gonna burn them tares up. You know what I mean?
Come. They trying to be us hard.
Yeah.
They trying to be us. They can't though. They going around like I was doing this. I was watching documentaries and just seeing them trying to be Jewish. It was disgusting. It was a disgusting sight. You see this big old wildebeest trying to look like he holy and he Jewish with his little nasty string. It's just disgusting. They trying to be you so bad, man. They trying to be you, man. But that's why it's important that what we do here, man. We teach. Go ahead, sir.
It's like it's heavy what you're bringing out because they want to be us, but they can't. Even without language, they got to put all them little dots and slants. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of brothers be asking me what that is. I'm like, that's not part of our language. That's a white man trying to put his Polish and his Scandinavian language inside our language. I mean,
yeah,
they can't understand our language.
Nah, they can't. Because it's just the devil. There's no way to put it. They can't. They're not us, man. They can't. They tried it. That's why he said. That's why I said they go sit up at the. That's why I said they go sit up at the seats in the congregation, right? You know, I'm talking about Isaiah 14, right? They gonna sit in the seats of the congregation. They want to sit in front of the congregation, try to teach you how to serve your God. That's what they want to do. Teach you how to serve your God. All right. Let me see here. See what else I want to get to. Wrote this with a pencil. It was hard to see. It's like. Go to the book of John 11:45. All right, read that for me.
This is the book of John, chapter 11, verse 45. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary. Come. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen them things which Yahushua did, believed on him.
So now, Mary now, she like the talk of the town. They coming to Mary. I mean, I'm hearing all things your son did. Christ is like that, equivalent to that sports player that, you know, he that LeBron James, you know what I'm saying? Of course, in the spirit, you know, in the better sense, of course. But I'm just trying to give y'all, like, the context of it.
Right.
So now, you know, everybody coming back to Mary like, yo, man, look, man, your son doing all this stuff, man. He the son of God. And Mary just like, she look around like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Keep going.
Come. Book of John, chapter 11 and 46. But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees.
But you gotta have them, you know, like we in the truth, right? You gotta have some of them Christians, they gotta go to a Christian pastor. They gotta go to the rulership. You gotta have them Uncle Tom Sambos, whatever you wanna call them. They gotta go tell, you know, Massa what's going on, right?
Right.
Keep going.
Come. And told them, it's like it told them what things Yahushua had done.
And of course, this not, now of course, can't say this is all just a certain type, but you know, primarily, this is going to be the well-to-do in Israel doing this because they don't want to lose their power, right? They don't want to lose that grip. You know what I'm saying? They the Martin Luther Kings, the people that was like Martin Luther King. He tried to act like he was born poor, but he was a very like a wealthy family in Atlanta. It's like a whole wealthy neighborhood that he lived in. He grew up in, so he got exposed to, you know, some of the riches that the devils let him have, right? So that's the same way. They don't want to get rid of that. They went back to them to go report back to them so they could try to do something to him. Keep going.
Come. Book of John, chapter 11, verse 47. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees, and the Pharisees a council, and said, what do we?
So now he's like, man, we got to get together. Like, what we gonna do? What we gonna do about this man? Keep going.
Come. For this man doeth many miracles.
So this man, he doing many miracles. Like, we don't have a grip on Judea like we used to have. We don't have that grip on them. Keep going.
Come. Verse 48. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him.
So he said, if we just let this man go alone, let him deal with what is he trying to do? What is Christ trying to do?
It's like it says he's trying to wake people up to the truth.
Exactly. He's just trying to bring people into the truth and let them understand the truth about the Bible. Christ, you think Christ don't know he about to die? He knew this all along. Right. He gonna die. He gotta die for his people. He already knew this. So his whole goal is to bring people into the truth, right? That was his whole goal. But they didn't want the people, because the word was getting out. But you know how, that's why the Most High, he got to give whoever he lets follow him, whatever's following, he wants the people to follow that person, he got to let them do miracles. All right, now, what did he do like, how did Moses convince the people that the Most High was with him?
It's like, he went in front of,
Wait, you already answered. Come in, you're going to let somebody else get it.
Okay.
Or you want to say out on the phone? Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead, Charles. There you go, man.
Oh, okay. He showed him that the Most High was with him as he turned the staff into a snake.
That was one thing. It was another thing he did. Go ahead, Azar.
Sir, if I may, he performed at least 10 miracles, one of which to free the Lord's people.
You're right about that too. But the other one he did in front of people is he put his hand into his bosom and it came back out white. That's to prove to you that he wasn't a white man. Right? Then he said he put it back in and it became like his other flesh. Why would it be white? What would be something different if his hand turned black? Right? But his head turned white. It turned leprous, white as snow. So he had to perform miracles in order to get the people to follow him because he know how hard-headed and stiff-necked black people is. So you got to give them, because we gonna follow, because with black people, we don't follow who's good for us. Who do we follow? Who do we follow?
It's like, is it who bad for us?
Huh?
Is it who bad for us?
That's true, but what do you have to have for black people to follow?
It's like, is the blessing?
Lie.
Shalom, y'all the one.
Go ahead.
You gotta have that money, and it sounds
Exactly.
like that little TT.
You gotta have that money. Why do black people follow Brother Polite? Right?
Oh, it's like because he said no false hope.
Yeah, that too, but he got money, right?
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know if he really got money, but he at least put on the facade like he got money,
Okay.
right? What you about to say, y'all?
Shalom, y'all the one. If I may, what you just brought out is so heavy, and they will fool all our people. You know what I'm saying? They get them with the pastor. The pastor ran in the Bentley Road, right? You know what I'm talking about? Then you got the superstar. They riding in for Roberts and Lambos all day, and then you got the dope boy. They going to get whatever they want. So everything revolves around the almighty dollar over here, and our people have, fell victim to it time and time again by listening to these folks. You know what I'm saying? With that money, you know what I'm talking about? Sloppy.
The same way like we was in Egypt, right? You had people wanting to go back into Egypt, right? For them to want to go back to Egypt, it couldn't have been that bad for them, right? You pretty sure they wasn't the peasants, the ones that was doing all of the hard labor.
Oh.
They probably lived you know what I'm saying? This is not in the scriptures, but I'm just give you an example because this is how life is. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm just giving you an example. So you can't like go around saying this is those people because it's not what the Bible says. But I'm just saying like I'm just bringing it to life for you so you won't think of it as like one way when it doesn't have to be there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? All right, go ahead real quick.
That's a lot, sir. I was a real heavy point on the one you brought out. About the money, the lucre, the Bentleys and all that. Polite, so-called brother. You know what I mean? He's such an arrogant bastard. He came out on his rebuttal, and instead of apologizing and being sincere, he came out in a Rolls Royce. You know what I mean? It's Rolls Royce trying to do car chronicles, but it failed badly. You know what I mean? And he was trying to, be like, people hate me because I'm rich. You know what I mean? He's trying to be like, he's paid, P. Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
The more money you got, the more problems you got.
Exactly.
He's just a disgusting bastard.
Exactly. And that's what it is. Because he knows that black people we follow, because the person that we want to follow is the one who has the money. That's who we feel like should lead us. The person that has money. So that's what I'm saying. Like I said, I'm just saying, more than likely, it's a good chance that even in Egypt, the ones that was trying to get us to follow that golden calf, probably had money in Egypt, man. They was probably living good compared to everybody else, right? They was probably doing all right. Of course, we still in the captivity, but they always got to raise up a handful of us and say, well, if you do right, you can be like him. They give black people to aspire to be a good slave for, right? That's why they say Michael Jordan. You could be like, if you work hard, right? You work hard and dedicate yourself, you could be Michael Jordan. When not many people is even 6'4" anyway. That's like 5% of people is even 6'4" who can play that good. It's such a small percentage of people that will ever be that good no matter how hard they work. That's ever going to be gifted like that. But they tell you that you can work hard to be at that point, right? Because they want you to be a good slave. They don't want you to come up and revolt. That's part of that propaganda. Those rumors, they try to spread. Keep going. What you got to say?
If I may, what you just said is so heavy, and it's a point that needs to be brought out because when we look at how we move in this world, to what we see and what we see is always negative. And when we look at the Bible, we think that's the win, but still we are, betrayed by eyes and betrayed by, saying, the wealth of this world, we'll never get where we need to be. Like y'all.
Exactly. We need to focus on being what we're supposed to be, which is the Israelites, right? Salakia.
It's like, sir. I also like the people that you're talking about, like, that want to go back to Egypt. I mean, what Egypt say, they could, like, I mean, I know it's like an example what you're saying, but they go like to like the taskmasters, right? They probably was.
Yeah, they probably were the taskmasters. Like they probably went. They probably like they say you had to mix the brick with the hay and however they had to do it. They probably wasn't the ones physically doing that. They was probably the ones watching them. You know what I'm saying? They was probably the one that had to drive the trucks or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Well, not trucks, but the camels. Right. They was probably bringing it over. They got a promotion. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's how that was. They go. And those are ones that wasn't living as bad. Right. So, all right. So, trying to get into some of these. How much time we got? We already passed 9. Anybody got any questions at all? Okay. Let's go to the siege on Jerusalem. So everybody know, Christ died pretty much. We'll probably get into some more of that next week, but Christ dies, right? He dies on the cross, right? Well, he dies on the cross and all of that, right? Then you got your what they call Christians in the Bible. That's what they're gonna call them, Christians. So they're following Christ, trying to teach all of the people the right way. They are dying, and then now it comes a time where they trying to come and kill everybody, right? They want to come and kill try to kill the Jews. Give me 1 second. All right. Where I want you to start at. All right, you can start right here. Okay, start right there. Where's the marks is right there.
This the book from Babylon to Timbuktu, page 84, second paragraph. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem.
So this is the beginning of it, right? Pompey, they had armies, right? They came and captured Jerusalem. So now they put us under their captivity, right? Keep going.
Come. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state.
So in 70 AD, they put an end to the Jewish state. Because they allowed us to kind of live on our own a little bit, you know what I'm saying, kind of govern ourselves, of course, under their rulership, right? But then now, they put an end to us. They got tired of the rebels coming back to fight Israel, coming back to fight Rome, right? Keep going.
With great slaughter.
With great slaughter. They came to kill. They came with swords, man. Keep going.
Come. During the period of the military governors of Palestine.
Keep going.
Come. Many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people.
So they was doing stuff like they do now. They was killing, gutting babies out, all type of wickedness, crucifying people left and right, doing whatever they could to our people, man. Just great slaughter, right? Some of us ran into the hills. Keep going.
Come. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa.
So during that period, we was fleeing. We was getting the hell out of there. Anybody know why we ended up leaving? Why we left and went into Africa? Anybody know? Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, because we were fleeing from Roman persecution.
All right, but I'm talking about in the Bible where it says about that.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. What you about to say? I think somebody about to say something.
So like it, sir.
Mm-hmm.
May, you know, our people fled Jerusalem. They fled our holy land because our nation is fallen. Like they say, Olympus was fallen, but Jerusalem is fallen, and Rome was surrounding us. And the only way we could escape, but we can't escape to, we could escape to, we have to escape to somewhere we can blend in, right? So we are a dark color, so we escape to a dark color nation. So like,
Yep. And we did that so that we could get the hell up out of there, right?
Like that.
Go ahead.
There also the part where like Yahushua told us to leave and we did.
You said what?
Is that the part where Yahushua told us to leave and we did it? After he passed, or after they murdered him?
All right, say that one more time.
Is that also the part where like after they killed Yahushua, right? Is that the part like where he told us to leave and we stayed, some of us stayed in there?
Yeah, some of us stayed, but he told us to leave. I'm trying to get where he said told us to leave at. Anybody know where that's at? Anybody know what scripture that is? Okay. It's in the book of Luke, chapter 21. All right? All right, go to verse 8 for me.
Okay.
So basically, Christ is, just to give you a little backstory. He's like, by the treasury or whatever, in the middle of the city and all of that.
Okay.
And he just sees what's going on. And they ask him, what is how will you know when the end days come? Like, he said that it won't be a one stone left upon another and all that. And everything should be thrown down. And go to verse 8.
Come. Read.
Go verse 8.
All right, come. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 8. And he said, take heed that ye be not deceived.
Mm-hmm.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ.
So a lot of people will come in his name saying they Christ, right?
Right.
So even that leader, his name was Eleazar of the Sakari, came in his name trying to say we should follow him. Keep going.
Come. In the time draweth near, go ye not therefore after them.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 9. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. For these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by.
I don't know where you reading from, but it says, but the end is not. Oh yeah, you're right. My bad. My mistake. It's a lot.
Continue,
So,
sir.
yeah, but he said basically, do not be terrified. This has got to come. Keep going.
Come. Book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, verse 10, sir. Verse 10. Then said he unto them, nations shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom.
So nation gonna rise up against nation, kingdom against kingdom, right? They're gonna be fighting each other, right? That's how you know the end of days. This even talking about back then, nation was rising up against nation. They was fighting each other like hell even then. They was fighting all these other nations, right? Then go to verse 12. Go ahead.
Come on, sir, if I may. Can we use Matthew 24, 15 and 16 to describe, when we fled Jerusalem?
You said Matthew 24 and what?
15 and 16.
God, I'll have him read it right after this, all right?
Come on, sir.
All right, keep going.
Just the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 12. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you.
So he's telling before all of this, nation rise up against nation, earthquakes, diverse places, famines, and all this. Before all this, they gonna lay their hands on you, man. Keep going.
Delivering you up to the synagogues.
So they gonna deliver you up to the synagogues. Why they gonna deliver you to the synagogues? They gonna persecute you. Keep going.
Into prisons.
Into prison, they gonna lock you up, man. You'll go to synagogues and the prisons and all of that. Keep going.
Being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake.
So they're gonna be brought in front of all these different kings, rulers, for Christ's sake, right? Saying you want to follow Christ, and they're gonna put you in prison. Keep going.
Verse 13. And it shall turn to you for a testimony.
Okay. Hold on. All right, drop down to verse 20. Hold on. But it's telling you that, he going to give you a mouthful of wisdom on how to deal with all your adversaries. A lot of these, they're going to be put you to death. Right? But he said, not a hair on your head shall perish. Right? But then go to verse 20.
The book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies.
So when you see Jerusalem come around with armies, right? Compass means circled around.
Right.
Keep going.
Then know that the desolations thereof is nigh.
So they said it's gonna be near. So when you see it come, because how does Roman siege? What do they do when they do their sieges? They go around the whole city, and they cut off your supply. Right. Just like how they do, like I said earlier, they sit on many waters. They go to these different nations, and they set up forts all around you. Just set them up. So then now when they see that happens, the desolation is nigh. That means it's near. Keep going.
Luke chapter 21, verse 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein too.
So he said, get the hell out of there. Anybody that's already gone, don't come back. Just stay gone, stay out of there. Keep going.
Verse 22. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled.
Day of vengeance. And everything that's going to happen, all the evil that's going to happen, and that's the days of it. Keep going. That's the last verse.
Luke chapter 21, verse 23. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people.
So it's going to be destruction coming to Israel during this time. Because we see it, man. We had to pay for it.
Right.
That's the reason why. Right? Let me see. Time is 9:19. I was trying to get into the Sakar. I guess I can briefly go over it. But basically, there was a group. I'll just paraphrase a little bit. There was a group of rebels. They're called the Sakari. Nobody really liked them like that. They was overly violent, I guess you'll call it. But nobody really liked the way they did things. But what ended up happening is, it was a mountain called Masada, right? It was a part that was already built during the time of the Maccabees. Sometime in the Apocrypha, it was already built up. But Herod, he built a palace on there, right? So in case his Rome ever decided to come after him, he can have his last standing. So the way it was built up was there's a snake way like this that you got to go around to try to come up. It's not really any ways you can really come to it, because they're on foot. You know what I'm saying? They can't come drop bombs. They're not that sophisticated yet, right? So they gotta come along a snaky way. The whole time you get to defend and throw stones, arrows, whatever the case at them the whole time while they go up this snake way, right? But during this time, they had it set up, that it was already like a Roman garrison. A garrison is like an army. They already had a Roman army over there, right? But the Sicarii came in at nighttime and came and killed all of them. But if you ought to see, like Masada, y'all can go look up pictures of it. But it was like a land, they had cisterns which caught rainwater. They had a whole aqueduct that go into the whole place. They had homes and everything in there, right? And they even had they even had fertile land that you can plant crops on. So they can feed themselves, so they good. Raise the animals, do whatever they need to do. So then, what ends up happening is Rome comes and sees this, and they know that there's Israelites up there trying to get them all, right? So basically, the part that is 100% true of is that, they had fights against each other. We was winning, the Sicarii was winning at some point, during those fights because they had the advantage. They was able to shoot down the arrows down on them and kill them, right? It's like a narrow path, so they only could come in at one at a time, right? So after battles, it was like probably about 3 or 4 years, they just smacking heads, and the Sicarii being, winning. They said they gonna build up they came up with a new way because what does Esau build with? Warfare, right?
Right.
So what they did was, what's going on? I'm about 5 more minutes. So basically, what they did was they moved up these big towers that was like 90 feet tall, right? That basically, that if anybody tried to stop them, they was throwing like fire missiles, not, archaic fire missiles, you know what I'm saying? Like things that was on fire they could throw and it would a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Not the sophisticated stuff they got today, but they was throwing those at them. What's up?
It's basically like how Esau always used like the higher ground as an advantage.
Oh yeah, that's what he's doing. He's trying to use that. He's doing that because what they're doing is they built a ramp, so they built like what their own, with like earth, with dirt and trees and all of that. They built a ramp so that they can come right into the land without having to go up that little snake way, which gave, was turned the tables around Rome had a, advantage now because they can put in all these soldiers, they can put in all of their equipment, which the Israelites didn't really have a bunch of war equipment. They had like basic stuff, swords, knives, you know what I'm saying? But they had a whole army of weapons that they can employ on them, right? So then over time they had to just watch them. They couldn't stop them because now they had those towers up to shoot arrows or whatever they want to do at them, right? And they had it plated with iron, so you couldn't shoot back at them, right? So then they built up the ramp, and the story goes in Josephus that when they finally got up there, that basically it was nothing there but 2 women and 5 children that was left, and they told them on the story of how they drew lots, and they just basically one person, a couple people just went and killed pretty much everybody, and they just killed each other because they didn't want to be slaves. So, and it's sad that now that story isn't confirmed. That's exactly what happened because Josephus is the one that told the story, and he's known to not be maybe 100% correct or try to embellish, right? But the story of Masada did happen. That's confirmed. They came over there with a ramp, and those people somehow died. So it's not something to try to highlight the Sicarii because they weren't in the truth. But it's just to show you how much of a devil our oppressor is, right? It's to show you that they willing to go up to here. They could even just, they in the top of this damn mountain. Just let them live, man. Just let them go. Nope, they had to go up there and kill them, man. Women, children, and all that. They wanted them dead. They couldn't just let them be. So, anybody got any questions at all? Any questions at all? Going once, going twice. All right, with that, I pass the class over to Precinct Officer I.S.U.P.K.
SHALAM. This is the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We the I.S.U.P.K start at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When the new brother and sisters come to the school, they are always living for 6 months. They are here to be saluted only. They are here to set themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother and sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. TITHES, which is a commandment, the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21, and the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Ma'ashara means tent in the Hebrew. 10% every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for a priest, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you like to give. The next holy convocation is a memorial of the blowing trumpets. It is Monday, September 6th, sundown. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pad, headband, and scarf. With that, a item be saying, give one curse salute to Akim here, Ben Israel, Amitem Sabat, Amitem Barak, Yahweh Bashin, Yahweh Yamatah, and down star, turn to the sister, it's the same. Okay, you got your heel facing 90 degrees with your right hand on your left. Head down, shame fat to the Lord. And when say Barak, put your right hand on your chest. Men Israel, give one curse salute to the sister, men Israel. Amitem Sabat, Amitem Barak, Yahweh Shema Eldon B'Hashem Yahushua.
Yahweh Shema Eldon B'Hashem Yahushua.
Yamatah, me hands down, class dismissed.